Hello everybody and welcome. This will be the FTL Ship Guide 2.0 because when I did my first series the sea layouts weren't a thing yet, and now because I have voice commenting, yes, the ship guide is that old. Now, just finished unlocking all of the sea layouts and A and B of the Lanius cruiser, meaning we have a total of 10 ships I need to take a gander of. I'm thinking about doing around 5 per video, so be sure to look out at part 2 if your ship hasn't been shown off here. Now, I said I recently unlocked them all, and that is true. I haven't played with any of them yet, so, well, except for the Lanius A to unlock the B, but that's where it ends. So this will be a first glance, seeing what I can make of it, and we'll see where we end up. So, first off, Kestrel C, the Swallow, starting off with a dual laser ion stunner. Crew is Lanius crew, and 2 humans. Start off with no real augmentations. So, you start off with a clone bay. A bit of a, well, mixed feelings on that one. Well, the thing to talk about here is probably that clone bay seems to be the new thing here. Kind of on the fence about that one because I am not really sure what I prefer. It seems to be highly situational, either clone bay or med bay. The clone bay seems to shine once you can augment it actually, so getting that, what's it called? Regenerative teleporter or reconstructive teleporter that heals your crew with teleportation, or the DNA data bank. What I don't know yet is whether the clone bay actually work with nanobot repairs. If that's the case, then obviously the clone bay plus the nanobots give you best of both worlds. You can't lose crew and you can heal passively to full health every time, even though it would take a while. Now for a ship in particular, still seems to be kind of a blank, to be honest. The ion stunner, haven't found that good of a use for it other than locking down, well, stunning people in rooms that are on fire or without oxygen. It also works well with Lanius. If you're starting to board, you can stun the room where your Lanius is in fighting the enemies, meaning it will grind the fighting to a halt, but the air will continue to suck out of the room, continuing to deal damage to the enemy crew but not to your Lanius crew members. So, seeing that you start off with a Lanius, maybe a teleporter wouldn't be too bad, but let's see how this one actually handles in a fight, if we can find one. And we can. So with just the ion stunner and dual lasers, you don't seem to be off all that well from the start. I mean, most ships aren't. But I suppose the start will be easy to use the ion stunner, which of course misses because this is FTL. Let's see if we can take out a weapon. We can, so we're safe. So yeah, I'm thinking a teleporter would be good for the ship. Then again, it's me being biased, because if you are watching the series you can see that I clearly prefer boarding over everything else. I suppose it could go with hacking as well pretty well, but or a firebomb and shields or whatever. I mean, if you look at this here, if I can get the ion stunner going, but I'll try to, if I can make this happen, then shoot them here. See, I can stop them from repairing weapons. Something to keep in mind that the ion stunner isn't just for taking down shields, even though it will probably be used mostly to do just that. One more shot and we're done here. So that's kind of what I have to say about the Swallow. Let's get back to the hangar, check out the next one, which is the Tetragon. So, this one. Again, Clone Bay, I think that's going to be standard with this sort of layout. Start off with dual lasers, drone control, and hacking. Let's talk about hacking, right? We sort of know how the whole shebang works, right? You pick what to hack, and depending on what you hack, you get different results going. Yeah, the beam drone, I don't know, it's a standard one, right? Yeah, so I don't know how much rooms that can actually hit or how long the beam is or anything. You also get a defense scrambler, meaning you can actually use that beam. What I figured out with the whole drone usage is it seems iffy. I mean, to me, drones only get useful once you do get that drone recovery arm, otherwise you'll start bleeding drone parts, and that's not good for anyone, especially if you rely on said drones. Now the hacking, there's a lot of things you can hack with different results. It might be useful to talk about that. Once again, you start off with a Lanius crew, but more on that on the Lanius cruiser itself. So, let's see if we can get into some combat, see how this one actually fares. It's obvious at the start you can use just the dual laser, but it will drag on. So, hacking. What can we hack and what does it do? Temporary range charge from enemy weapons. The good thing about it is that if you do go for weapons, you can actually see the weapon charge itself, same with having now level 3 sensors. You also get to use the shields to drain bubbles of shields one by one. With just a level 1 cloak, it's not really that good because it drains pretty quickly, that cloak hack. What else you got? O2, that's good. I've tried that out with a fully upgraded cloaking. I want to keep saying that right. With a fully hacking system, it is possible to drain a ship from oxygen if the enemy's system isn't that good. What I have done before is just hack O2, board with Lanius in the oxygen room and destroy it straight after, meaning the ship will already be at 30-20% oxygen, and if you can destroy it with those Laniuses, continue to take down. You know, you set yourself up for being hit by weapons because you're not attacking weapons and stuff like that, but it's a good way of getting rid of enemy crew without actually having to fight all of them. And then you have pilot and engines. They both have the same effect. They put down evasion to 0, so if you have enough shots to get through shields, you might be better off going for piloting or engines rather than the shield room. Another benefit from hacking is it's sort of like a lesser lockdown from the crystal crew members. It also stops the enemy from getting in as easily. They will get in, but it could take them a while. Also prevents them from getting out. So if you get a fire in a room and you hack said room, chances are it'll burn to death or at least be severely injured. Especially because crew members generally just tend to run once they get to low health, figure out the door's busted, and Bob's your uncle, he's dead. Other systems that you can hack. Drone control. Hacking the drone control will prevent drones from doing anything and give a chance of them actually exploding. Hacking counteracts the hack, and I think it's also possible for the hacking tool to break. Could be useful for when they hack something that's particularly dangerous, as in your oxygen room or weapons or shields if you're not that very much powered. What else? There's the backup battery. I think it just negates it. I don't think you get any negatives from having that hacked. Then you have the med bay, which is also fun to do because it actually hurts enemy crew. So if you can fight in the med bay or board in the med bay, have a lot of people come in there, hack it, then use your hack, and it takes long enough, it could end up killing the crew and really shortening the fight. What else do we have? Doors. Sort of brings a lockdown to all the doors. Can be useful, but I don't think it's really that necessary. Cloaking will disrupt the enemy cloak. Mind control. If you have a crew member of yours that is being mind controlled, it will stop that mind control, and I think it mind controls their own crew for the duration of the hack. Could be useful, but I think just having the lockdown of your own mind control of your own crew member stop is probably more valiant than the mind control on the enemy crew member. Still, could be something. I think that's about the most important things we've had. So, let's check the hack. I'm usually a fan of getting the piloting, so that's what we're gonna do here. Because it can make all of your shots hit, unless they have cloak or something. Good thing about hack is you get to see the strength of the system, and you can also see inside the system in case you do not have hacking available. That's on shields. Huh? So, we'll get that sorted out immediately. We get the beam up, we fire the dual lasers on the shields, and hack. So you can see current evasion 0, and that's a good place to be at. With the shields down, you can let the... Well, that's it for the weapons and hack. Let's get those back up. But if they can get the shields up, they're probably not going to have a very good day. Yeah, thing is, if you hack, you can't... Well, if you destroy a system that's being hacked, you can no longer hack it. So be careful if you do want to, for example, drain a sip of oxygen. You need to use your hack before you destroy the oxygen system. I had it happen once. So be sure you're ready for that. Something that's often forgotten, but anyway, that takes care of that ship. Let's look at the next one. The Fragatidae, whatever. So, what do we get on this one? What's special is you do not start with weapons. It's not the only ship that starts without weapons. You have the Crystal B, Mantis B. They also start without weapons. Usually means you get a teleporter, which is the case here. Problem here, it's a 2-slot teleporter, which isn't all of that grand. Another issue I see is your boarding crew will consist of a Mantis and then some. It's not the best idea to get the human out of there, because it means you have to put a Zoltan on power, lose 1 power. And Zoltans themselves can be quite dangerous because they explode. Now, that can be used to kill crew as well, I know that, but I'd rather tend not to lose crew, even if I have a drone control. The debuff on their skills isn't that grand, but you still want to try and avoid that, if it's at all possible. Start with emergency respirators. Suppose you can use it to board in AI ships and Lanius ships. Still, it's there, it's nice to have, but what else changed is that this is no longer a beam but a flak gun. Kind of like the flak 2, I think. 7 projectiles means probably so. Like I said, I haven't tried these out yet, so I don't know if it's a blind shot, but I believe it will be. So let's give it a shot, right? So, you're supposed to board. Let's get that going. I prefer to take you and you to do such a thing. Start off with level 2 Clone Bay. I guess this will be one of those ships where you are going to try and get that restorative teleporter and or the DNA databank. So let's get into a fight. So this is excellent. We can just sit here and watch the artillery flak do its job, so you can see that in action. I'm guessing it'll be just exactly the same as a flak 2 cannon, but it does not take up a weapon slot, which is good. Flak is overpowered in its current state, so it's good to have, I suppose. So let's see what that flag does. And then we'll board, and that's all about what we can do here. So priorities will probably be getting a weapon up. Because if you do have to wait for that flag to fire, you can sit here for quite a while. So it disperses its flag all over the ship. Well, on one hand that's good because you can hit on multiple systems. At the other hand it's bad because you won't do as much damage to a particular system. Still, it looks good. Anyway, we can finish them off here, I think. We've boarded before. Now, if we get everyone out, will they come and get me? Yes, they will. And if I get you out, you won't be hit by the exploding mantis. Now, they're getting away, but again, that's not a problem because of the, Clone Bay. Ship shows potential. I mean, the artillery beam itself wasn't quite the inquisitive thing to have. You can get cloaking now with the Federation cruiser. I'm not too excited about it. I mean, that was one of the things that actually gave the Federation cruiser a debuff. You got a incredibly powerful beam, but you couldn't cloak. That's gone now, and preferably if I have the choice between cloaking and, let's say, drone control, my mind is made up pretty quickly. Anyway, next ship. This will do numbers on my win-loss ratio, but The Serenkov, layout C from the Zoltan cruiser. Now this is kind of how I wanted the Engi Cruiser A to start off with, a ion weapon and a beam drone, because I've made my rants clearly on normal attack drones. It's, first of all, it's unguided fire. Okay, that's true with a beam drone as well, but you can also miss, and it seems like attack drones are more found to missing than your normal shots. Now, what's another problem with this one? First off, you lose a slot through drone control, meaning you either have to get cloaking, which I find fairly essential versus the flagship, and then either teleporter, mind control, or a teleporter. Is that right? Sounds about right. Start off with a full backup battery, which means they're probably not going to start off with a lot of power to begin with, other than your Zoltans and your backup battery. On the one hand, that's good because you can get a lot more power, and I tend to run out of reactor power very close to the end of a run. Don't know how that is with you guys, but on my end, that's the way it is. So let's see. Yep, start off with a max of 2 bloody power, which isn't that much of a problem to start off with. Unless you want to get that beam online, well, beam drone online as well, then Anyway, I think this one will do pretty well. A beam drone and an ion. It's better than a beam drone. Better than a ion and a anti-ship drone. But let's find out, shall we? Well, of course you have the Zoltan super shield, which next to is, well, in my eyes, it's pretty good, and I would put it on par with a weapon pre-igniter. The reason for it is safe from missiles early on, safe from mind control, safe from hacking, and if you up your evasion chance a lot to keep that thing going for a while, I mean, it's just good all around, isn't it? So, let's fire our weaponry once the charge is full. There we go. Then we can use our backup battery and get the beam drone on. Might as well do this. Doesn't really serve a purpose, but... And when shields are down, you can just use your charge laser to keep it as such. Kind of like those charge lasers because it provides with excellent flexibility. If you need a big weapon, you can charge this up for extra sarge, extra damage. And once you don't need it, you can fire quickly and more shots. I don't know if you are possible to stack ion damage with this weapon. I mean, we'll soon find out. Nope, can't. Not yet, at least. And that's the end of the backup battery, meaning we will have to get that done to do anything like that. So yeah, what this ship needs, well, same as others. Extra crew, maybe some extra weaponry, a drone recovery arm would be amazing, and obviously a lot of power, so we don't have to rely on the backup battery. It's not bad, but if it runs out at the wrong moment, you could be in quite a bit of troubles. Let's get back to the hangar. We'll do one more. And we'll go with Stealth Cruiser. This is a weird one. Reason for that is it's called Stealth Cruiser. You don't get cloaking. You do get... Excuse me. You do get decent weaponry though. The charge laser is not bad, fires pretty quickly, and the mini beam, it's still good. For 1 power you can do 3 damage, maybe even 4, I'm not sure. As for the shieldings, there is none. Cloaking, there is none. Instead, you'll have to do it with your drones again. You get a shield overcharge that's a little better than the shield overcharger on normal ships, because it takes 1 less power, and an anti-drone drone. Yeah. Which is a big help, really, because with a stealth ship come across a ship that had a beam drone was hell. You don't have to say otherwise. If you had to face a beam drone, you will take hull damage, and an unfortunate hit on weapons could put you in a bad spot. Now you don't get that. Unfortunately, you can't cloak to take care of shots. You'll have to do it with the shield overcharger. And now I don't know how good it is, but let's find out. Again, start off with a clone bay. That seems to be the norm. So let's get in some combat, see what this is all about. I'm suggesting getting 1 more bar of power on easy wouldn't be bad, so you don't have to depower everything to get your shield overcharger up. Sure, we'll attack, that's why we're here. So, let's get this thing going, see how good that actually is. Not too grand it seems, but I'm thinking early on it would help you doing what you want to do like this. Thing here, well, now you have the chance to get either cloaking or shields, and seeing that shields do come cheaper now with 25 scrap less, seems like the better option here. But as weapons you are fairly decently powered, so encounters at the start shouldn't take too long. Unless you get those unfortunate misses going. Again, a drone recovery arm would be good, seeing that you already start off with a drone control. Might as well make the best use of it. Alright, well, that's 5. We're gonna keep the remaining 5 for the next episode. I hope this will help you out getting started with these. I didn't go over all basics because they've basically remained the same. And I'm assuming that if you do manage to unlock C layouts, you pretty much know what's going on in this game already. So we're just talking about ships now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any more advice on you should try this out with that ship, feel free to do so either on this video or the next one. Preferably the one where you comment on a particular ship that's featured in said video, otherwise things could get weird and we don't want that to have happen, right? So yeah, advice is always welcome because, as I said, I haven't played with these yet other than just now. So I might be missing something obvious, but this is my first look at them. And I think that would give me the best observation of them, seeing that I haven't used them. I know what's up. So, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out the next video if your ship hasn't been shown off here. See you guys on the next episode. Bye everyone.